Mitchy,
Brandon.
you are zombie apocalypse. I want to know what your weapon of choice is. So you woke up in the morning, you rolled up your blind and you're going off. No. There's a few zombies floating around outside. What's your weapon of choice around the house that you've got?
Bread knife.
Bread
I
knife.
want to get up close and personal.
It's blunt.
Yeah.
Do you reckon
I
that's
want to look
because
them in the eye.
Do you reckon that's because you're a blunt person?
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
We're fucking around. I want to look you in the eyes. I want to see you.
You want to really engage with them zombies?
Yeah. I want to get to know you while
Yeah.
I'm second ending your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a normal.
Yeah.
What are you doing in the zombie apocalypse if there's mass around you?
Mass around me.
Yeah.
Still the bread knife, but just doing 360s, spinning around. Well, something creative. Because I used to play Dead Rising a lot when I was a gamer growing up. So you have to like make all these things to end the zombie apocalypse. Do you ever play Dead Rising? Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
My mum walked on me playing the second one when I was like 14.
Yeah.
Very not age appropriate for 14.
My parents never stopped me from playing violent video games.
Yeah, neither did mine. It's an interesting concept when your parents want to stop you from playing a violent game. It's like, well, you're gonna want to play it at some point in your life anyway. And if you get stopped from playing it, you're only gonna do it later.
I was just doing a podcast or interview with Shake Counselling. Do you know Shake Counselling? Jackson Scholes and Will Wright?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Doing great things in Geelong. And I was having a chat with them about, we were playing GTA, Dead Rising, Call of Duty, all these violent video games growing up. I was playing Doom, Quake, all the old stuff. And now there's kids these days that we were experiencing the same stuff, but kids are walking around with like machetes these days and knives and...
Is that the reason though? Is that the reason that they're walking around with
No, that's what I'm saying. Like we had the same things as what they had, but now in this day and age,
it's different.
It had nothing to do with video games.
I feel like this day and age is very much a lot more sheltered, but it's a lot more violent. And I can't actually put together what it is.
I think it's glamorous is what we were talking about, like with these rappers and things like that. And we were talking about, because there was a kid and one of the kids they take care of in there with them. And he was talking about how he wants to be a rapper and do all this sort of stuff. And my first perspective on this whole rapping scene was like, it's all talking about violence and rapping about drugs and drug dealing and that sort of stuff. But in that circle, in that scene, they know that it's just a play. It's just it's like a scene of a movie. It's them rapping about...
It's them acting, essentially.
It's them acting, yeah. It's deeper meaning.
They're playing their part in what it means to be successful and in that scene and then being out there, really.
But as well, it's also got deeper meaning. Like some of them aren't even drug dealing, but it's got a deeper meaning about the world that they grow up in, the world, the atmosphere that they're in.
That's the audience that they play into.
Yeah. But anyway, then other kids hear it and they think it's glamorous and they go, I want to be walking around the streets with machetes. And that was Miles' perspective of it anyway, the 14-year-old that was in the room. And he goes, other kids hear that stuff and they see the music videos and they want to be rappers themselves. So they go, well, I need to carry a machete and stab someone and be cool.
Yeah.
But then again, we had 50 Cent and we had whatever. Yeah. And we weren't doing that stuff.
7 times. It is
Yeah.
I would ask you to fact check that, but it's
the truth.
7 times.
Yeah.
Why
Didn't know that.
List.
Yeah, right. I just thought that he'd been shot 7 times.
No, yeah, that's what I mean.
Like in the face, though, he's like quite full on.
I thought it was more than 7 times. Maybe it was like throughout his body, it was more than 7 times.
Have you seen the disassociation that he has with his son? So his son is like a handout, like, my dad's famous. I want as much. Give me money, like, to be famous, to let me do whatever I want. I don't want to work. And he's pretty much come out and been like, you're my son. I'm not giving you money. Go make your own bread. Okay. Which is cool. But his son is just like very much like, I want to party and I want to be with other like famous celebrities, essentially. Yeah. It's just like,
I have a little bit of a resentment for rich kids. We grew up with nothing, and I think looking at if I was one dream of mine is that if I become wealthy, I want my kids to not know that. That's one of my dreams.
How would you shelter your kids?
It's hard. Well, look, if I'm wealthy, quote me on this, and this might be fast forward 10 years in the future. If I'm wealthy, I'm not having an exorbitant house, an exorbitant car. I'm not having anything more than what I need.
The XV is still what you're running around.
Yeah, I actually honestly think after every time I go to Bali and come back, I have these little switches that flick. And my most recent one is I think cool people are the people that make the most money and spend none of it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
My brother Lindsay, modest job all his life, paid off his house by the time he was 35. All of his friends who became doctors and this and that had HECS debts and a house loan and everything. He had his house paid off, car paid off, everything he looked at in his home, he owned it. And now I'm 20, took me 29. I'm like, Lindsay's cool as. I like mad respect for that stuff.
It's a good appreciation for your brother.
Yeah, mad respect. Yeah. My 4 brothers, my world.
Where do you fit in there, Q?
Little baby.
You're the little baby.
Yeah,
how do you feel like coming up as being the baby? Because I'm the youngest myself. How do you feel in the pecking order? Do you feel that you're more adventurous, or do you feel like you're the most nurtured, or you're the most opportune out of everybody, that everybody's happy to help you? Most
naive people look at it and go, oh, you're the baby, you're the one that's spoiled. And I thought that all my life. All my life I've gone, I was the one that mum, because I think deep in mum's mind, she wanted to give me everything because it was her last baby boy. 5 boys, by the way, no girls. So I was her last baby boy, single mother. So she wanted to give me everything, keep me happy, her last son happy, everything like that. So a little spoiled little brat, right?
Yeah.
And I was. I really think I was, looking back on it. I thought life was quite easy. I thought things came quite easily. But also being the baby boy, you see all your brothers leave the home. You're left with just your mum. You have that pressure, like, I'm about to leave my mum, and my mum's about to be living on her own. No father in the household, so just mum on her own. Like, there's a lot of guilt that comes with it. And there's a lot of guilt that I've had to work through becoming a man. I think I didn't become a man until I was about 27, 28. And once you get to that point, you start to really think about, there's a lot, being the younger child, there's a lot of burdens as well. A lot of burdens. Like my oldest brother, Ash, when he was 18, 19, he pissed off to Europe and was partying in Europe and having a great time. And he didn't have to think about nothing. His 4 brothers are back at home with mum. She's taken care of. But as the young one, there's a few other burdens, that you have to sort of work through.
How young between you and your next brother?
My next brother, 11 years.
11 years.
Oldest one, he's 53, so 21 years.
Okay. Yeah.
They're half brothers. We speak of each other as brothers. We're brothers.
That's good.
But yeah, oldest one's 53, so there's a big 21, 22 year age gap between the two of us. Yeah, huge.
Did you feel like an only child?
Never. No, definitely. I always, anybody who asked, I always had 4 brothers.
Yeah.
And there was a hard part of my life between the age of 11 to 18 when I moved out, where it was just me in the house left. So it was lonely and it was hard, but I always called them when things were tough and when I was having a hard time. But no, I definitely never felt like I was an only child. I never felt ostracized or left out, or never.
So that period of from 11 to 18, obviously there's no other brothers in the house. It's just you and mum. You didn't feel like an only child because you had your brother's support from that way. But the ideal of being home, just you and mum, they're quite isolated. Like the love that mum would give you would be different to other brothers being around though.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You did find that? And you didn't really get the sense of like an only child feeling from that at all?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. What are you asking again though?
Well, like personally, because I found that my brothers are 7 and 9 years older than me. So the one that was 7 years older than me, he moved out at 16. And the one that 9 years older than me, he moved out at 18. So they moved out at a very similar time in my life. So I was like 9, 10, very similar age to yourself. I felt like I grew up past that point as an only child with the extra attention. And yeah, like I didn't feel isolated or anything like that because my brothers were always home. But I definitely had the sense looking back on it, like, and it's not a bad thing. I almost feel like it was a privilege that I felt that way, especially because my brothers are so close in age, like 16 and 18, at the time when they moved out. But they grew up with each other, and them being so much older than me was completely different. Like they were more protecting me, or if something come up, or one would pick on me and then the other one would, interact in a different way. But like, yeah, I definitely felt or had a sense that I was an only child for quite a bit, but it wasn't a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
And I would never like not ostracized or anything like that, but definitely a benefit of being so much younger is that one, I had the benefit of having my parents to myself for quite a period. And I had the expression or the freedom of thought to be able to have, a personality grown by myself, where I feel like having brothers, where I look at other people that I know, like good friends of mine that have brothers that are older than them or siblings that are older than them that are quite close to each other, they are quite influenced by their siblings, which is normal.
Yeah.
You're going to pick up your siblings' taste in music, what they like to do, hobbies, all that sort of stuff.
Of course.
But you're going to pick it up. You're going to find yourself with your friends a lot more as someone that's growing up during their teenage years when just with your friends and not so much with your brothers. So that's why I asked you, like, do you feel like you were an only child because you had that experience by yourself?
Look, I actually prepared myself for this mentally in case this came up in our interview, but that time when I was alone with just my mum, it was actually the worst time of my life.
Okay.
Like, so there was, even though I had 4 brothers, and I smiled a bit when you were talking about, having music taste and things like that. I had moments like that with my brothers, but being alone with my mum in the home is probably like the hardest time of my life. So you speak about like friends at school. I wasn't allowed to go and see friends. My brothers, I would talk to them when things were really horrific in the home, like if I needed to reach out to them for help. But that wasn't a very beautiful time of my life. Like most people would talk about. That's why I got you to ask the question again, like, because I wasn't ready to just say, you spoke about love and like having your mum there to sort of have a nice household. There wasn't any love.
That wasn't me shining a light on anything like that. Like I was unaware to that. So I do apologize.
Don't apologize. I'm so happy talking about anything. We're a podcast. Let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Yeah. Like it's just interesting how people have different upbringings and you're not even that far away from somebody. Like, where'd you grow up?
Yeah. I grew up in Wandana Heights, so around here, just at the bottom of the hill.
Yep.
We originally, before that, we were in Highton, 3-story home, like nice big home right near the river. So we thought that was like
it in a bit.
Oh, I look back and I think right now I would love to go back to that home, knock on the door and say, how much do you want for it? If that's one thing I'm going to spend money on, I would love to knock on that guy's door and say, are you selling? And if he says no,
when did you live there?
Until I was 10. So literally when I was 10 getting to 11, when mum and I lived alone down the bottom of the hill, until that point, it was me, my brother Angus and Wayne. And then when mum got the new house, it was probably like perfect timing to go, mum's getting her last house. It's going to be Mitch and mum. Let's move out.
Yeah.
So until that point in time, it was just the 3 of our brothers. The 2 oldest ones, one of them was in Europe, university, finishing all that sort of stuff. One of them was working nightclubs, bought his own home young, moved out and did all that sort of stuff. Down in Wandana Heights.
So the feeling of wanting to recapture that, like if you had all the money in the world, you would want to buy that house because you had such fond memories there.
Of course, yeah. Having my brothers around me 24/7, that was the bee's knees.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. My reflection of being that only child period for me was like, whilst I had a lot of friends and cousins that spent a lot of time with their brothers, I didn't get that opportunity as much because they'd moved out and they were older. Obviously, being a younger brother, like I sucked. I had nothing good to give. And I'm sure that there would be parts that you would feel like that as well. That once I found a couple of friends that lived really close by, I would always be out of the house. And I feel like I was one of the last generation. Benny might be able to attest to this maybe a little bit differently. But as soon as technology came in a little bit, everybody was just in the house a little bit more. And I was still of that generation where we were out riding bikes, we were just like hanging out on the street or down by the river or sneaking out late at night to get up to no good to just go across town. And I just find it a really unique difference for the people these days. Like, I don't know whether they have that experience anymore. It's just,
My brothers, my older brothers were having their mates over in the street and kicking the footy and that sort of stuff. But because of the age gap between Angus and I, which was 11 years, there was a lot of changes in that 11 years. Like do you remember being on MSN? Like video?
No.
Yeah. So I was
the nudge.
Yeah.
Do you? I don't know. Yeah. See?
Skype.
Yeah. That was clutch,
And
man.
poking people on Facebook and all that.
Clutch.
I was in that generation that started that.
Can you still poke people on Facebook?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
They brought it back. So they got rid of it. Yeah, they got rid of it.
Yeah. The nostalgia. But I was a part of that generation. I think MySpace was just moving out of the scene. Facebook, I had just gotten to speak to like aunties and uncles. So it was none of my friends in high school had it. But that was actually an interesting time when social media first came into the scene.
Yeah.
Social media bullying was profuse. There was no awareness around it. Everyone was saying whatever they wanted. It was a dark place to be. Looking back on it,
The Wild
yeah,
West.
the Wild West. Yeah,
It was.
I had the shift. I experienced the shift like directly, because I had the thing where my cousin lived just down the road, and I'd ride my bike down to his place, and we play the Wii or whatever, and like go for a bike ride around. Because I was out in the country, so there wasn't much to do. And, getting into like year 9, year 10 and stuff, where social media it just stopped.
It was such a fascinating switch. I remember having like an absolute piece of shit phone where camera phones had just sort of come out and you rate.
What'd you have? Motorola Razr?
Nah. Oh no, Mum and Dad had Motorola Razrs. I can't remember how old I was, but Mum had a pink one, Dad had a black one. I can't remember whether Mum went somewhere and was like, but you took off the steel of it and then you put pink ones on.
Powerpuff Girls and
pimped it out before she bejeweled it as well. But Nokia 3310 this thing's true probably to me.
The brick.
Yeah, it was an
Snake.
absolute brick.
What's the other key?
I would have had that pretty early days. That might have even been before me, or it might just be a nostalgic sort of model that was there. But yeah, I had a couple of bricks, and then I definitely had phones without cameras on them. And then I was definitely in the introduction of having cameras. I definitely got myself into trouble on a 1 pixel phone more than a couple of times.
What are you doing?
Oh, maybe save for another time.
Little spit. How old were you?
Year 8 was a different time when those cameras sort of started floating around.
Yeah.
And
Did they even have enough pixels for you?
We might as well overdulge. Like a really hard period of my life was probably year 8. I was probably king of the kids in year 8 at Joey's, and I went through a period that was quite tough where I had some friends, and I had a girlfriend she was the hottest thing around at Sacred Heart at the time, being a Joey's boy, and we had planned on having sex at some point in being in year 8, and we decided to tell everybody about it. We thought it was the it in a bit thing.
Yeah.
Being like one of the first couples around to do it. So we'd planned everything out, and then obviously there's a build up to it, like, oh, we have to do this and we have to do this. And we thought it was, for whatever reason, we thought it was a good idea to film her giving me a head job on an absolute 2 pixel phone. And yeah, I had told friends that we did it. And then on the leading afterwards, I'd left my phone in a room when I was with her, and they'd gone onto my phone, sent to
themselves, Bluetooth.
And sent it around. So that was quite a hard period afterwards.
Yeah.
I'd probably say there's been 2 really, really difficult periods in my life, and I felt like that was one of them. I just felt like I lost all my friends.
Why though? Why'd you lose all your friends over that?
I just feel like people disassociated with me just for various reasons. I got pretty bullied hard.
Why?
From it?
You were the first kid to get a head job.
Yeah.
Isn't that like
all sort of nicknames that sort of come out of it.
Yeah,
like
okay. And jealousy, I imagine. Jealousy.
Yeah, probably
a lot of teenage
a pretty
boys.
big thing. Yeah, probably a big thing in reflection of it as well. Sort of happened. And probably like one of the teachers at the time was just like, like these names that people are calling you or whatever, like it's not, everybody's like that or this way or the other, without getting too sexual or anything like that.
Of course,
But it was quite a full-on little period for me as like a 13, 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Losing a lot of friends. And like, to be honest, and I think there's always a positive out of a story at some point.
Of course, yeah, at some point in time.
At some point in
Yeah.
time. And it would have been like a really isolating period for probably like 6 to 8 weeks where I was like, fuck, I don't really know who I am. I don't know where I fit in at school. I don't know like what I'm going through. It was really, really tough. And on reflection, looking back at like what high school kids are now, like a lot of kids commit suicide. Probably they go through a lot of things that are rougher than that, but bullying is such a big thing. And I was being bullied by, year 8s, the people in my year level, and people all the way like year 9s and year 10s that were coming out of me that I didn't know, that were out of the blue and would call me names and say this, that, and the other. And I was like, fuck, this is shit. Like what am I going to do? I was extremely lucky where somebody come up to me in homeroom. Like being an outgoing person, being an out and out person, I'm quite fortunate that, sometimes people are more than happy to take me under their wing. They see something in me that like maybe I don't even see in myself. I have one friend that went out of his way to say, hey mate, like I know that you're having a hard time at school at the moment. Come and hang out with us at school. And I did. And all of a sudden they weren't there. They were pretty rough. They were rough kids. But there was like 10 of us. There were a group of us. And they said, if anybody ever says anything to you now, we'll sort them out. Like, don't worry about it. So at school, being in year 8, there was a quadrangle at Joey's. Like everybody, where the year 8s, year 9s, year 10s would float through, everybody would be in the one spot. It was the one spot where if you had to get to class, everybody would be there. So everybody in the school was in this one spot constantly. And if any, like you would always be with your friends, essentially, whether you're going to class or whatnot. And this group of friends stood up for me black and blue. Even from day dot, when I would spend like the first lunchtime I was with them, they were like, someone would come up to me and they're like, you got fucking something to say? Like, come over and say it to all of us. And these boys that I'm still friends with today stood up from me for day dot. And they were like, you got something to say? And we blew it at school. Like there were fights that we got into at school. These guys had nothing to do with my situation. Maybe they just wanted to have a blue or they wanted to have a fight. They were more than happy to go into bat for me. And a few of those boys got kicked out of school over the next probably 2 or 3 years. By year 10, they probably cleared out the ones that really were into a bit of trouble. Like we still talk to them every now and then, but our core group of friends are still the ones that we go to dinner every Wednesday night. Yeah. There's like a little bit of extended group. So a couple of boys that have come into the group and they've like brought their best friend that they had at the time. We go out for dinner every Wednesday night without fail since we were 18. So that's like 14 years we've been going out for dinner. And we love each other like a brotherhood, like nothing else. We do anything for each other. I got a tattoo on my foot when we were...
And if you never got caught in getting a pixelated head job, you would never be friends with these absolute legends. Yeah.
So that's like a really dark period of my life led to something that was really, really positive.
Oh, of course.
And something that I would never be able to, like I would never change for the world.
We could do a 12-hour straight podcast transitioning stories of how much adversity we've had in our life and it's turned into something miraculous.
Yeah. So like, I don't feel like that's that much of adversity, but when things bad that happen
when you're a teenager and you're in that sounds like a war field. You're literally talking about walking between the year 7s, the year 8s, year 9s, year 10s. I can place myself there and see what it's like, where everyone wants to bully each other and bolster each other's egos and beef on with someone.
Joey's was quite the place back in the day.
And a bunch of fucking masculine men running around everywhere.
It was quite the place. Like I remember that if there was a fight, there was a bottom oval that you had to take stairs down to, and there would have been probably maybe 40 stairs, quite the hill down. If you ever drive past Joey's, you'll see it. The bottom oval, it's like it's a good staircase up. If anybody wanted to fight, they would go, we're going to have a fight on Carey Oval, we're going to do it at lunchtime. And the crowd that would amass on this bottom oval would be ridiculous. It would be like 4 year levels of people that would go down there. There'd be people like up the top. And the teachers would know like straight away, like, why isn't there anybody in the normal spots? Okay, there's kids walking down to like this one spot. It means there's going to be a fight. And there would just be teachers everywhere waiting for something to happen. And a fight would break out before you knew it. And it would try to be broken up. But like most of the time, like as kids, it's over before it starts.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But very, very interesting platform to be at an all-boys school in that time, especially with technology sort of coming in.
Well, that's where we started. You got MSN, you got MySpace, you got all these kids are arguing at school, and I imagine teachers have been like, why did they start arguing? Before MSN, you would have seen the argument start. It would have started with them talking about someone's mum or whatever.
Yeah.
The argument would have started from somewhere and the teacher would have seen it. But now kids are coming to school and they have
got all
beef
this
things,
other
and they go,
stuff.
where the hell has this started from?
Yeah.
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 Something over MSN or something over Facebook or... Yeah, it was intense. For me, there was, in year 7, year 8, there was a lot of, I don't know if you remember 3219 with boys.
Of course.
Yep. So that was like a big problem in our school when I started
you go?
year 7, Belmont High School.
Yep.
There was a big group of them. And I remember...
YG?
Sorry?
YG, the young group.
What? I don't know the terminology. And in year 8, the school just did a mass expulsion. And then after that, there was no more fights. But I was actually pretty proud to be in our school. Like, if there was ever beef between people, like I remember one guy, won't say his name, one guy and another bloke, they had some beef. They took each other to the back of the oval. They had to talk about it. One of them didn't like it, knocked the other one out. They said, okay, I can knock you out now. You understand. Guy apologized. And then we got on with our lives. And now year level, our whole school, a unique thing about Belmont High School is, whether you were in year 7 or they were in year 9, you knew each other. You knew each other by names. It was pretty intertwined.
It's a small school.
Yes.
Like it's not over that big of a land print.
It's a small school, but there was a lot of students.
Yeah.
Like for a regional school, there was, I think we were one of the biggest. We had a pretty good, relationship between people of sorting shit out ourselves. You wouldn't hear of a fight very often, but you'd hear of an argument or some beef. And you'd eventually just sort it out yourself. But bullying, it was always a school playing field, a school territory though. You know, it was a war zone.
Yeah.
There was plenty of bullying.
It
Don't
always
get me wrong.
happens at school. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a part of going to school though.
So we have absolutely loved, Mitchie, people writing in the Telegram line that we've got. There's an app that people can submit anonymous stories to, and they are 100% anonymous. And I have genuinely loved people writing in. There has been a little bit of like people just writing in, hey, I want you to talk about this, like a one-liner. There's been people sending through and saying, hey, asking personal questions on my life. I haven't been buying into it so much. I was writing back quite a bit saying, look, I'm going to need a story around your question, or obviously you're going through something.
Oh, so you can write back to these anonymous people.
Yeah, they can get the feedback from it. And I've sort of stopped. So I really just want the stories. There's no published version of the story that's going to be anywhere. So I've got some absolute corkers of stories, and we're going to have 2 today, and they're going to be discussion points, and we're going to have a chat about them. Obviously, this is your first raw time and Benny's first raw time of hearing it as well.
Being raw.
But this first story is called Catfish in the Kinks, and that's what it's going to be labelled on through absolutely everything. I love the people that are writing in. I don't know. I've only actually been able to pick one story that some of you that I know that has written in, only because it was so relevant to me. I'm like, how did you think that this was going to get by me that I didn't know like this was you? We had a good laugh about it anyway. So, Catfish in the Kinks. So I matched with this guy and I'm talking to, he was an absolute 9 out of 10. Absolutely perfect. Great banter. The chats were fantastic. We swapped numbers pretty quickly and I was genuinely excited. I was chatting to him through the apps and we exchanged numbers. It all went downhill very quickly. Faster than a man that had to delete his browser history. He immediately asked for feet pics in one of the first text messages. Fucking yuck. I'm thinking, okay, well, yuck. Red flag zone. That is number 1. But something felt off, like catfish vibes also backed onto it. So I went back onto the dating profile, did a bit of a reverse image search and detective work. Thank you, Google. And guess what? In the meantime, whilst I didn't find anything, he'd updated his profile pictures and now he'd add a photo of himself with a woman. Her face was blacked out, but I wrote to him pretty quickly and I asked, hey, who's the woman in your new pic? He goes, oh, that's my girlfriend. And I just said, like, excuse me? And then it got worse. He starts going on about how it would be good to see me and his girlfriend go down on each other. I immediately blocked. And honestly, I had to have a shower after that. A full body exfoliating cleanse, save my phone, delete the apps. Good little story that's been written here.
Do you want my opinion on anything of that? Or what?
Why? Why do people feel the need that they have a partner and they still need to go elsewhere to ask for feet pics? Surely you've got someone that's like front and center.
I think just people's like dopaminergic receptors, like their need for more and to feel more, is just getting completely out of whack. Like it's at some point, like it's like watching porn. Like everyone says you shouldn't watch porn because at some point you're just watching a girl and a guy. Then you're watching two girls. Then you're watching two girls shitting on each other. Then you're watching a dude. And then you're watching.
We've progressed.
Then you're watching choking, and then you're watching like trannies, and then you're watching like excessive stuff, and then you're watching the dark stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get to that point. And it's like some people just don't have enough. I imagine this guy's like behind.
It's more the interactive piece that this person's gone through that like their kink is then, hey, like, you know, people are into whatever they want to be in.
Yeah.
I don't think that feet are the worst thing in the world. I'm not into feet. I'll make that very clear. I don't think there's a problem. I said it.
Everyone's got to have their own kinks.
Everybody's got their kinks.
I hear that and I go like, mate, like what is it about the feet that you need? Like what is it that's not enough? Like is not having sex with a woman just normally like enough?
Yeah,
the feet stuff's a bit intense.
I don't like. I'm the most basic bitch. Like in the bedroom, I don't fucking like anything extravagant. I'm going to put myself out there right now and say that
I'm the same.
I do the basics well, and I'll back this up.
I'm in that category. I think. Yeah.
But yeah,
I've had girlfriends ask, "Can I stick something up your ass?" I'm like, "No," and they're so passionate about wanting to do it, and I'm like, "Geez, it's not." I'm like, "It's not happening. It's just not happening." I've had other women be passionate about it. It's just not happening.
How do you feel on the receiving end? Like putting yourself in the female perspective of this, because it's obviously a female telling a story about a male.
Yeah. Look, the way he's done it is odd.
Yeah,
you know, it's okay for him to have that. Like, even though I've just said before that, like, why can't you just draw a line and have things normal? If that's what he's really into, that's fine. But you don't have to fucking catfish someone.
I think it's quite funny that it's come up in the story that she's gone to do a reverse search, and then it's come up. She's gone back onto the profile to maybe copy another image or something like that. And she's like, what the fuck? Why have you uploaded a photo of a girl with a blacked out face?
Yeah, that's odd. It just sounds like, but the thing is though, if I'm having to do this on someone, if I'm having to reverse search their photos, I'm probably not interested. Like I've already lost interest by that point.
Yeah. I think this person is probably, they've copped that first text message and gone, oh, this is so fucked. And like, am I being catfished? Was this a setup from the start?
I hope she's just curious and doesn't feel like that's her only chance at love, that she's had to reverse search these photos to see if it's a potential date or mate. Like, just move on to somebody else if you're having to reverse search them.
You been catfished before?
Not legitimately catfished where the photos are completely wrong, but I think we've all been like, it's you, but like, should we Photoshop that? Or like
how bad?
Yeah, that's not in the last 6 months.
How bad was your catfish?
Look, I think catfished have just been like, when I say how bad I've been catfished, it's probably just been to do with figure, like someone's figure.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, like I embrace all figures and all sizes and all shapes. Like I've got nothing that I think makes me uncomfortable. But don't lie to me. Like it just makes me even feel comfortable about, like, I know what your insecurity is as soon as I've caught up with you, and just I don't know. I don't feel comfortable that you're lying to me.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. Like, even if it's just platonic and it's purely friends of benefits, like the fact that you've lied to me, like we're already not in good terms. And I'm quite like you too. Like even if it's when I was interested in one night stands, like even if it was a one night stand. I have to feel some sort of comfort and trust with the person.
Yeah. So safe to say it didn't go anywhere then?
Nah. Nah. Maybe when I was 21, maybe I was just like, fuck it, let's do it anyway. I'm fucking stupid. I
was 31 and Yeah, very, very similar situation.
No one's catfished me recently. I don't do Tinder or Hinge and when I have, it's lasted, there's been 3 times and it's lasted 3 days. And yeah, after that, I feel dirty. I don't know. All about, heaps of people obviously do it. For some reason, for me, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel insecure and dirty and like I'm doing something wrong. I don't know.
What do you think that stems from though? Like, where do you get that feeling from?
I think when I'm jumping onto the apps, it's because I want either an escape, I want external validation, or I'm lonely. And it stems from like those 3 things or something in that realm. And then when I'm on there and I realize I'm being desperate, I'm not being patient, I'm just looking for like something to fix a moment in time and to distract me for an hour of sex, I go, that's not worth it, Mitch. And it's never worth it.
Yeah.
Like we talk about.
You don't think that you've ever been on an app to actually find someone meaningful?
Yeah, if I'm honest, I don't think I've ever downloaded Tinder with the intention I'm going to download this to find a partner.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
It's purely been I'm just going to download this to try and find a one-night stand or somebody to keep me company for a bit. Okay. And I've always been all about friends of benefits. I think I've had healthy friends of benefits.
I think it's a necessary part of relationships, especially in an in-between period for you. If you're coming out of a relationship and there's an in-between period where you don't know how you still feel about, being with somebody else, friends with benefits has its absolute place in the universe.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree.
As long as both people are on the same page, like it has its place.
It's hard though, because I felt really uncomfortable in those times of my life where I've spoken to someone on an app and after 10 messages, they go, "What are you on here for?" And with discomfort, I go, and I press send and I say friends of benefits. And then I get a response like, "That's what you're all here for." I roll. And it's like, come on, like I'm just being honest. Like just say, "Oh, I'm not here for that."
Yeah.
Sorry, all the best. And like have understanding. But then you feel dirty and you feel guilty and you feel I feel embarrassed. But aren't I doing the right thing and being honest? And then you hear horror stories about guys who lead girls on and that sort of stuff.
Do you think it's easier to be upfront in the bio about what you want?
No, because I get worried. I'm like, what if somebody and this is once again caring too much about what other people think. But if someone who doesn't even match with me, a friend of mine or a friend of an ex, which I shouldn't care really now that I'm saying this out loud, but if a friend of ex sees it, they're going to send to my ex-girlfriend and be like, "Look at Mitch fucking trying to look for a friends of benefits or a one-night stand. What a loser," or whatever. I really shouldn't care, but in the moment, I'm a little bit embarrassed.
It's quite quite interesting that you say that, because that's the first thing that you start to think about when you go on a dating app. After a relationship, you're so focused on your ex-partner, like, what if they see this? What are they going to think about it? Blah, blah, blah. They don't really give a fuck. Like, if I've been fortunate enough that I've never had to go through that with an ex-partner and see them on a dating app, but like, that's their business. Like, they don't want to be with you for whatever reason, so therefore they're doing that. I know a few people that have run that scenario, and I've done it personally, about the openness of not wanting a serious relationship within a bio. You can imagine that you get a lot less matches. Like, there's absolutely no doubt about it. But the people that you're matching with are obviously on the same frame of mind about what they're wanting. Sometimes they're just wanting a one-night thing. Sometimes they're just wanting company. Sometimes they're just wanting to go out for a couple of dates. And I think that my bio at the time, going back a little bit now, was like, I just want to take somebody out on some cute dates. I want some good company, and I just want to have a good time. I don't want anything serious. But yeah, this is where I'm at. Like, I think that there's definitely has its place to be upfront in that way, because then the people that you're matching with are obviously on your wavelength. And if anybody matches with you and then tries to make you feel bad about that later on, for example, then like, you would clearly you've been upfront from the start. Like,
I think for me, I'm a bit of a romantic. Like, I love telling a story of how I met my partner and not starting with I was on Tinder or I was on Hinge. Like, my ex, Ellen, we met at Paco Festa, and I used to love telling everyone that story. My partner at the moment, the girl I'm seeing at the moment, Gima, I love telling that story. I think there's so much weight in getting off the apps, being patient and accepting that unless you're locking yourself in your house, if you're out there in the real world, you're going to meet someone eventually, and it's going to be along the lines of something that you enjoy, because you're going to be out there in the real world, you know, running a marathon or fucking rock climbing or whatever you enjoy. You're going to meet someone through those paths that is interested in the same things as you.
Yeah.
When on the apps, I feel like it's very easy, and I do it. I reckon I do it myself. So you choose your best images, you choose your best photos. You try
That's what we're talking about, catfishing on the back of that.
Yeah.
Somebody's changing. Like,
so I think just let's go back to the old days where we just meet people in real life.
man, it's 100% ideal, but most of the people that you talk to now, especially post-COVID, don't go out, or they go out so very limited that if you actually meet somebody in person, there's a good chance that they're going to turn around to you and they're going to say, I don't go out that often. You probably caught me on a good night of when I've been out.
Yeah.
What the really good point of what you make is that going to social events that really are from your hobby, and then that way you're going to connect with like-minded people.
Yeah.
That's completely different. And that is a game changer. If you are into something and you can involve yourself in a public setting, do it. Because if you're just going to sit at home and you're going to sit on the apps, it's unlikely that you're going to connect the way that you want to connect.
Yeah, here's the thing too. I get that what I'm saying is ideal, but you want to meet somebody who's into the same things as you, and you know, you obviously want to date someone because you have the same interests, the same hobbies, the same passions, the same whatever. You're not going to meet them. The chances of meeting them behind a screen and behind an app is very low.
It's perfect world. It's
perfect
world. You want to be able to meet somebody.
And you're saying it's an ideal world. You get out there and do your hobbies and that sort of thing. And if you can't do that, well, then I think you need to take some time to work up the courage to get out there before you get into a relationship, because obviously you're not ready for it.
100%.
If you're at a point where you can't get out to the real world, and I'm talking from experience, I went through a deep depression where I couldn't even leave the house or go out to a bar without feeling intense anxiety. Like,
is that after a separation with somebody, or
after I hit rock bottom with my own mental health once, and I had a lot of things to rebuild? Like,
what was that post though?
What was that, pardon?
Like, how did that come about? What situation?
I was just partying too much, using too much drugs, and I got to a point where I realized I'm trying to escape something, and there was no other escape besides attempting suicide.
Yeah.
And trying to come out of that, like out of those two attempts, was hard.
Okay.
Like, I'd start questioning, you know, why did I do it? What's wrong with me? Who am I around? I had this internal dialogue all the time that people were talking about me, and the embarrassment as well of hitting rock bottom.
Because you're a very confident person, and do you think that these learned experiences, that like the experience that you've gone through to get to that, now adds to the charismatic person that you are? Because you're very out there. You're very you seem like you're a person that's got a lot going on, and in a good way. And these experiences that you're sharing are quite negative. Do you feel like they're built up to the positive person that you now are?
Well, look, what you see on the Instagram and stuff is all.
But it's not even about the Instagram. I've spent some time with you in person, and I can tell how genuine and how happy you are in what you do. How do you think that these situations that you've been through previously, and obviously this is some time ago, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
How do you think that that's then shaped you to then have a real appreciation for where you are now?
I get what you're asking. And I think one of the most beautiful things about the bittersweet moments about suicide, and anybody who's gone through the attempt or the idea of thinking about it will agree with me on, is once you finally get out of it, you start to go, wow, like I could not be here. Like I could have gone through with it and ended it. So anything from here doesn't really matter. And the reality is, even though I didn't follow through with it, something is going to happen in the future that's going to cause it.
Yeah.
And one of the most beautiful analogies I've heard is there's no Bible written after us.
Yeah.
There's been one Bible written, it's after Jesus Christ, and it was 2025 years ago, and there was no one else after that.
Yeah.
And if you're in a book or something, good on you. You've discovered a star or a new planet or whatever, but the likelihood of that happening, everyone's going to forget about what you do. So, you know, someone might forget about the girl that I said something rude to when I was in high school because I did that. Someone might forget about the person that I told to fuck off, you know, in front of their parents once, that I did that and I made a fool of myself. Someone might bring up something that I did in the past that was embarrassing. We've all done embarrassing and made regretful decisions. But the reality is we're all going to forget about them one day, and we all make mistakes.
Do you feel
just move on from it?
Because that's a really, really good outlook on life, and I fucking love that. That's awesome. Do you feel like you being outgoing and being able to present yourself to the world in the way that you do now as the outgoing, driven individual and not taking shit from anybody, do you feel like that has helped shape you in that way, that train of thought of going, who fucking cares? Like, I've got one shot at this. Like, why not do the things that make me happy? Do you think that that's really come on the back of the experiences that you've had earlier?
Absolutely. And it's empowering for me, but it's also, I think one of the most empowering things for me too is noticing how much life it gives other people to see me do that. And they go, well, I don't feel comfortable getting on camera. I don't feel comfortable speaking my mind. I don't feel comfortable calling out the shit in my industry or whatever the things that I do. And to see other people start to do that or feel motivated by that, that G's me up.
Yeah.
Like I text somebody today and said, I said, David, imagine the whole world wanted to help other people as much as you and I want to. I said, imagine a world like that. And he replied and said, yes, Mitch, but that's why you and I are extraordinary. And I thought that was beautiful because like, I appreciate you so much, the beautiful words you said to me. That makes me feel great. But it's hard to not say this without feeling egomaniacal or full yourself. But like, I do feel like I'm extraordinary. Like I'm a different person. I have a beautiful perspective that's so rare and what everyone else should feel.
That's
but
obviously
it was because going through some shit stuff, shit stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, I'm not just coming out of this after going to one, mental health retreat. Like this has been 4 years of a lot of hard work.
Yeah. And I think that people don't realize the amount of work. Let me rephrase this because it's really important to me, is that if people can't see a difference, they don't think that something's changed. And a lot of what people go through internalize the battles that they have with dark times or hard times that they've had, and they've changed the person that they are on the inside. People will always dismiss it because they can't see a change. It's really easy to see someone overweight, spend the next 12 months eating well, working out, and they come back, oh, he's lost a lot of weight. He's made a big change in his life. Good for him. There's something that you will never, ever, ever see in somebody is what changes up here. And that is so important. What changes up here is more important than changes anywhere else. And if someone can change up here, then they can do anything.
Of course.
And what's really important from what you've said is that you had to go through something hard to then come out the other side and have this ridiculously good outlook on life, something that you cherish and you now consider yourself extraordinary because you're right. You have an extraordinary look on life, and the way that you present yourself and the way that you carry yourself in talking to people, maybe it's being on camera, and fuck, you cop some flack for it online straight to your fucking face. For people that
are a fake account.
Fake account, it's still someone behind it. But these are people that probably haven't been through something in life, that have been spoon-fed everything to them, that haven't been through a challenge and don't know what it's like of why someone is an extrovert.
Yeah.
People aren't fucking born the way that you are. And if they are, most of the time it's because they are well and truly above God's gift.
Yeah.
Like they
and
do
those,
have
but
something.
those people too, my best mate sometimes goes, why are you too nice to people that piss you off? And it's because I have this weird ability now to go, I was that asshole once. Like when someone's a dickhead to me or being insecure, I have this ability to go like, no worries, mate, whatever. Like I'll be kind to you, but I have an ability now to go, you're being a cockhead because of some other reason that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Either your mum made your head too big or your dad made you feel like you weren't good enough or whatever. It could be anything under the sun. There's a million reasons. But I have this ability now to go, there's assholes out there and they're assholes for a reason. But I was an asshole. I was an egomaniac out in town flaunting myself. But hurt people, heal people.
Yeah.
I was an idiot once. I got out of being an idiot. I did the work myself. And now I just want other people to feel that positivity that you obviously feel.
But most importantly, it's cool to be kind. Like it actually costs you nothing to be nice to people.
Yeah.
And something that I love seeing new people around that I don't know that well, take them into a public setting and see how they treat people that essentially mean nothing to them. It's so easy to be nice to somebody. It's so easy to say please and thank you, and someone puts something like in front of you, someone gives you a meal, like, thank you so much.
And it's contagious.
100%.
It's contagious.
Yes.
Ben Cook and I were at, what's that place in Cry that's like Time Zone?
Oh, God, I didn't even know that one.
Yeah, it's basically a Time Zone of Cry. It's really cool. You got billiards tables there, gaming, bowling, all that sort of stuff. And when I ordered a meal, I got this card, like a free $5 card to go and, play some games, whatever. Put it in my pocket, forgot about it. And then we were leaving. I was just touching my pockets and I was like, oh, I got that card. And just in my head, and this isn't to make me look special or anything, but I saw a dad with his kid. So I walked over there and gave him the card. It's just a no-brainer for me. And I walked off. And Ben and I spend enough time together. Ben saw me do it and went, grabbed the card, went and put it on his table. And we walked off and went home. And when I was driving home, I was like, it's funny how when you start to be a good person and you start to just do things without wanting anything in return, you start to surround yourself naturally with good people.
Yeah.
And it's contagious and it amplifies. And I think it was Gandhi said it, whatever you focus on grows.
Yeah.
Like you focus on negativity, or you focus on how mean everyone is to you, or you focus on wanting to cause revenge onto the people who caused harm on you, or you focus on wanting to make other people happy or with their kids, that just grows. Yeah. Just grows into...
If you only focus on the things that you want to focus on, that's all you're going to see. 100%.
Yeah,
exactly.
If
I ask you to look around this room right now and then ask you a colour that isn't typical, you'd be like, what's that? And then if I ask you another colour, you'd be like, oh, what's that? Okay, it's just how it happens.
Yeah.
You only focus on the things that you want to focus on.
Yeah.
So no, it's you've obviously done a lot of work on yourself. You've come a long way from someone that was down in the dumps to be able to come out the other side, and you should be proud of yourself. Because to be honest, I don't know you from fucking 2 bars of soap. To be completely honest, I've spent enough time with you to know that you're an absolute genuine person. But to know that now where you've come from and what you've been through, like it just sort of explains a fair bit that why you're so happy and why you're so outgoing and why you want to be the individual that you are, because you don't take life for granted. You've been through the adversity of going through something, and that's what it is.
And unfortunately, people, and it happens to you. I won't say who it was, but someone brought up something about you in the past to me recently, and they're a good friend of mine. They're a beautiful person. I respect them. And I said to them, hey, mate, you're seeing 1 minute on social media of their life and their opinion. You're seeing 1 minute snippet of it. So park it to the side, whatever your opinion is. Like, you're not on social media taking the balls to put your personality out there and put your opinions out there. Like, respect that there's a big, big personality behind. You called me an extrovert just before. I don't really think I'm that much of an extrovert.
Okay.
And a lot of people would say that. Yeah. Wait till I lock myself in my house and then turn my phone off and want to get my dog or my cat and sit on the couch for hours.
But we have spoken about this a couple of times on the podcast. There's an introvert when you want to recharge, and there's an extrovert when you're feeling yourself. Some people are an introvert when they're feeling themselves, and when they want to recharge, they want to be.
But I've learned recently there's ambivert, and an ambivert is somebody, the psychologist I heard it from explained it far better, but an ambivert is a person who loves extroverted activities, but an extrovert does social activities because it actually fills their cup.
Yeah.
An introvert will steer away from social activities because that drains their battery and they don't enjoy it. But an ambivert actually gets excited to do extroverted activities, but it actually drains their battery. So it's like a bit of a both. And I think genuinely I'm an ambivert.
Yeah, right.
As much as I get excited to be around people and getting this external validation, all the beautiful comments about my job and what I do. And
you're
love it. I love that stuff. I'd be a bullshit artist if I said I didn't love that stuff. But it does drain me. Like, I need to go into my house and lock myself away. And
you're going to sleep after this,
I'll go to after this. What am I going to do after this? I really didn't get in this. No, I don't know much to drink.
Yeah, I made him have a couple of beers before it. Normally he doesn't drink.
I'm going to get an acai after this, I reckon. I'm going to swing by the acai arcade and just go home. I love cuddling my dog, man. It's so therapeutic.
It's quite noticeable that you love your pets. You do. Did you have pets growing up?
Well, yeah. And I was that kid, like, because I didn't really go out much and see friends when I was young. I was like keeping them myself. We had like blue tongue lizards in the backyard, and I'd feed them leftover food, and always grew up with dogs in the house. And Cairo I've had since so the moment I turned 18, I moved out of my home with mum. And it was literally 2 weeks later, I moved into this house. My girlfriend at the time calls me and says, a dog's in my front yard. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, a puppy. There's a puppy that fits in my hand in my front yard. And she brought into my house. And I was like, his name's Cairo and he's mine.
And you've had him since?
18, moved out of home. So he's been through all the tumultuous stuff I'm talking about. Like, he's been with me through every bit of it right by my side. So that dog's my world.
Yeah.
Crazy. And the cat. my
And the
world.
cat.
Yeah.
What's the cat's name?
Zephyr.
Zephyr.
Yeah, his name is Bob. And
Do
then
they get along?
Yeah, man. The cat beats the shit out of the dog. Cat beats the shit out of the dog. It's great. Cat can play fetch too. Like I'll throw a little like toy in the house. Cat will catch it and bring it back to me. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's my kind of cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing that I do really want to go through is that you are a local advocate. You love local businesses. You spoke about earlier that one of the things that you would love to do, not on the podcast when we were at the pub earlier, that you would love to do a podcast with local business owners and just hear about their stories about controversy or like what they've gone through to be able to pull through on the other side. So I've got some quick pick ideas and just like a little bit of fun rapid fire sort of stuff. As being someone that's so openly out in the community, what's your favorite local cafe in Geelong?
At the moment, it would be Seven Origins.
Seven Origins.
Yeah, Baha and Wazzy. I don't know. I just feel like we built like this like camaraderie. Like like we're just one of the boys now, and we have a chat about anything and everything.
That's nice when you go in somewhere and they know you and you know them. They know your coffee order before you even.
I feel like I know most cafes like that, man. I have that much coffee and I don't make it myself. And then Box Office. Box Office is a really good hub.
It's a gem. It's a
really
gem.
good Geelong Westians.
Yeah.
Like the real laid back ones. Like every suburb has their posh cafe. With like the,
Is there that many good coffees down that end of Paco? Probably Seska's is pretty good.
Seska's is great.
Handorf is pretty good. The chocolate place is also pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose there is a couple, but it's not saturated. Not like the other end of Paco where it's a little bit more full on.
Yeah.
You cook a fair bit. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's very convenient meals I cook. But
Yeah, right. What's your convenient meal?
Oh, I just chuck 2 chicken breasts in the slow cooker at the moment and then buy like a nice loaf of bread. And I'll just have like chicken breasts that I can make sandwiches with, make a salad with at the end of the night, mix it into anything.
Bread of choice.
Fry it with, just sourdough.
Yeah, okay.
Just a good proper sourdough from Geelong Fresh Foods.
What's the brand that you're shouting out here?
I don't know the brand, but I look at it and I know it. Is it not always? Zilly Bay. That's the one.
Absolutely corker.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
I'm a big sourdough fan of the local region, and I've had to stop eating it because I was going through like a loaf a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing better than like.
See, I can eat like a weapon, man, and I'm fine.
Mate,
I'm good as crystal.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Go-to dish that of choice at the moment. What is it?
Oh, something that just makes me feel happy.
Yeah. What's your go-to dish that if you had time and you had space?
If my ex-girlfriend can make me tiramisu one last time, her new boyfriend, I fucking envy you, man. That's the one thing I want. If you want me to be brutally honest, that's the first thing that came to mind.
That's a good one.
Yeah, let's just say it.
I feel bad for you, but
I feel bad for you too. I go home and cry once this turns off.
We'll get some tiramisu. I'd love that in pepper everything. It might not be as good, but
she was a brilliant cook. Fucking hell, I miss it so much.
That's fair. Do you have a favourite dish from a family member that ever grown up or anything like that?
Yeah, my nana.
Yep. Tell me something.
Nana, every single birthday would make me ravioli from scratch.
Unreal.
And then the next morning I'd have ravioli for breakfast, fried up in a pan with some cinnamon and sugar.
So good.
Yeah.
That's the best.
That's the best.
That's awesome.
My grandmother could buy cold sausages,
and
a bunch of potatoes and some fucking veggies from a frozen bag and somehow turn it into a fucking dream. Something about post-war humans that just knew good food. They knew how to make a family happy.
Yeah. The spice combination.
And love. There was so much love in it.
Yeah, it was more love than anything. Dream travel destination that you haven't been to?
We just spoke about it before. Japan first came to mind for the scenery, all that sort of stuff. But Austria, snow, rural, nowhere nearby, like no people, no reception, no nothing. Silence.
The sound of silence.
Sound of silence, and outdoors for about 5 days, a fire. Someone by my side would be nice, and just chill in peace.
A lot to do with your hobbies and whatnot growing up through your 20s. Bodybuilding is a big shape of that. We're not going to go through it too much.
Yeah.
How do you feel like your bodybuilding days and being on stage then reflects to being an auctioneer?
Oh, like I always say to people, if you can stand in your underwear and fake tan on a stage, you can call an auction pretty confidently.
Yeah.
Like pretty much, it helps a lot with your public speaking. Yeah. I think it's the best way to explain it. But God, bodybuilding is a toxic world to be in. I don't wish it upon anyone.
Name a bad thing about it.
Oh, the politics and everyone's in it. Look, I won't say that, but I'll say the second thing to that is that I feel like it's a very political and toxic industry.
Do you think that there is an industry that people are deeply invested in, now that you say that isn't political as it goes up?
No, this is very political. Like, for example...
is the sports industry like that? Because I feel like,
I think sports industries where there's a judge involved is
okay.
Political as a whole, but excuse me, bodybuilding, it's so specific. You're talking about someone's preference over, is a smaller waist better than a large, big, bulky, deep muscled traps, lats? Is hamstring width on a side bicep more important than the width of your quads on a front double biceps? Like, it's so subjective. It depends on the judge. And then as well, sponsorships come into it.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Coleman, the king, was 8-time Mr. Olympia. And by the last 2 Mr. Olympias, he looked awful, looked rotten. And it was, I reckon it was purely backed by this guy was making millions for the industry and was a big advocate for the industry.
It's quite interesting that you say that, because the part around judges is so controversial that any event that you'll ever talk about that has judges, sponsorship is such a big thing in it. The WSL, the World Surfing League at the moment, someone's it's sponsored by one of the prominent sponsors there. The big one that sponsors the whole thing. They're more likely to win. And I actually had said to me recently, there's someone that's deeply invested in that world of that is an ex-pro surfer, has sort of said that, if you really knew the ins and outs, and you don't even have to be that close, you could bet on it and make a fair bit of money, because it's it's just dead obvious to anybody that's actually in the circle.
Yeah. I remember when I was bodybuilding, Collingwood was getting slammed for doping, and I think it was Collingwood. I'm not a huge footy fan, but Collingwood was getting slammed for using peptides or Essendon. Essendon was. It wasn't just Essendon.
No, of course it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No,
I know firsthand that there was people in my circles who were selling gear to other football players. I know firsthand.
It happened true and true everywhere. And they're just the ones that got caught, but we're only speculators. We can say whatever we want.
Oh, of course.
We're only speculators. Hidden talents.
I used to be a ballroom dancer when I was 4 years old.
That's magical.
5 years old.
Meets the last bit of rapid fire. Hidden talents. What are you profoundly good at?
I used to be a ballroom. I hate just redoing stuff again. I hate it.
Not even the ballroom dancer. You just said
We're
something.
Faking it now, and I don't.
No, we're not fucking faking it. What did you just say
Ask
that you were good at? What was the last thing you just said?
I was a ballroom dancer.
No, the very
Mario Kart. Anybody?
bullshit.
Do you think you're the better than me at Mario Kart?
I rarely lose over a fair five race sort of thing.
And
Anybody can
which
win
one
on
though?
road.
Switch or Wii? Because Wii, I think, is pathetic if you say you're good at Wii.
No, I was very good at Wii, and it took me a long time to be good at Switch.
Yeah.
But when I got there, I think the Rainbow Road's what I'm pretty shit at.
Yeah, so you need walls like a child playing bowling. Yeah. Cool. So I don't need walls, man.
Fuck, I can't wait to set this up. And I think we've got 5 races. I reckon I've got you a 4-1 or 3.
You can choose one. You can choose 5 races, and I'll choose
Give me
5.
the bumpers all day. No. A win's a win, doesn't matter how. An inch or a mile, a win is a win, baby. We've gone fucking deep into this, and we appreciate anybody that's still sticking with us at this point, because we've rambled quite a bit. I've got one last story that I just want to be able to go through, and it's an opinion piece. We're going to actually flick to Benny behind the camera for first opinion on this. It's not directed at you, that you have anything that it's directed at you, but I just want to involve Benny in this. But it's just a discussion point. And the reason I'm adding this one in is because it's really valuable. This person that's written in this story was, as I said earlier, that they're telling them anonymous messages that have been coming in have been a lot of just topic points and discussion points more than anything. And I haven't really wanted to discuss just like one-liners. I've wanted stories. But this person often listens. They've listened to every episode. They are quite I'm not going to say enthusiasts, but this person listens to the podcast when they're going to sleep. And I'm undecided whether it's a good thing that my voice is soothing enough to put them to sleep, or it's actually a good thing that they're wanting to listen to it before they go to sleep.
They're actually watching the video episode before they
but it is a good thing. And when they sent me through a topic of discussion, I wanted to talk about it just out of homage and paying respect to that person being a good contributor to the show and discussion points, and maybe talking about things that we could do better and whatnot, because there's always a million things that we can do better. So the story is called The Sleepover Rules. So with the sleepover rules, and the story goes as such. Okay, so the other week I was out with a couple of friends. We were a few wines deep, and the topic turned into casual hookups. And one of the girls goes, "Do you actually like sleepover after a one-night stand? Like, genuinely?" And it turned into this wildly passionate debate. One friend said that she always stays a night. She thinks it's rude not to. Another said that she never stays, and she literally calls an Uber while she's putting her pants back on. And then someone else admitted that she prefers when the guy comes to her house just so she can kick him out when she's done, which is a fucking power move. So the sleepover rules, as a discussion point, after casual sex, are you a sleepover person or a ghost in the night person? What's made you feel uncomfortable either way if it's happening to you, Benny?
Absolutely sleepover. I mean, if you're confident enough to share bodily fluids with each other and you enjoy each other's company enough to get to that point, then what's the fucking big deal of having a couple of cuddles before bedtime?
Which is quite interesting. I think I've been
on share bodily fluids as they can follow more.
Hey, give me a time and a date, brother.
Don't tempt him. He'll be at your house later. I'm. You said before, I'm quite the romantic myself in situations. I like to have a cuddle. I like to spend time with people. I've definitely had in the last couple of years very transactional intimacy, and it's been like labeled that from the start, where someone's come and gone, and that's been it. And I like, it doesn't sit well with me. Like I don't love it, but I think that's me being quite an intimate person. But you can definitely understand from somebody else's point of view. Everybody has wants and needs, and they're very transactional. So I don't really blame anybody for saying, like, for example, a single mother it needs to fulfill her needs somewhere, and then has to get back to her normal life.
Yeah.
I think that's quite normal.
Yeah, someone said that to me a while ago, and I thought that was like respect here.
Yeah. How do you feel about the stay over or the root and boot sort of scenario?
Oh, like it's hard for me because talking about one night stands, like I've never enjoyed them in general. Like I actually can't think of a one night stand in the past where I've actually gone home and been like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I honestly can't think of a time. Or one night stands I've wanted to just leave straight away.
Yeah.
And just get the fuck out of there because I just don't like it. But if I've got friends with benefits and it's like it's been going on for a while,
yeah,
absolutely, I'm staying the night. We're cuddling the shit out of each other.
Like the follow up part of it can actually be the best part of the night. When you start to think about casual sex as an interaction, it's like the couple of times throughout the night, maybe the morning sex that sort of follows with it is what makes it, like, as you said, the one-off interaction that sort of happens. It's transactional. It doesn't, like, it's never that awesome.
And you're both faking it if you want to stay together afterwards. If it's like a one night stand.
Yeah. It's
totally fake conversation.
Either of you, throwing it over to either of you, have either of you either left or had someone leave during the night? Mitch?
During the night, like I've woken up and they've been gone?
Yeah.
Nah, I never had that happen.
Yeah.
They've even just left straight after.
Is that just a movie thing? Is that something that we fall into that security of, like,
so.
like someone's like, they sleep and then they nick off. Like,
Yeah.
you ever had it?
I've had someone leave them.
I've literally like the night before last that happened to me, but
Oh, that happened to you?
yeah. But that was more so like it was kind of, very impromptu coming over kind of
Right,
thing.
okay.
It just seemed kind of just like
So you had fallen asleep and then someone had taken off once you'd fallen asleep?
yeah, I woke up like 3 hours later and I was like,
What the
where'd
fuck's
they
going
go? But they'd sent me a message saying, hey, I like your, white noise kind of shut off. And I was like having a hard time sleeping and stuff. And I was just like, oh, and I don't doubt I was like snoring the house down. So I'm like, I totally get you leaving, but I had a great time. So like,
How do you
it was all
feel
good.
that initial feeling when you're waking up though, and you're noticing that someone's not there? Because I've never had it before. Mitch has said that he's never had it, so I'm going to press you here for it. Like,
It's
what
a bit of a shock, like slight shock,
is a bad feeling that you had?
I mean, we never like went on a date or anything.
Yeah.
She just came straight to my house.
is it kind of really?
It's not here nor there for me. I was just like, oh well, like I wasn't that fast, but I have had someone. It's happened to me a few times. They've usually had like a panic attack or something, and we haven't been that close enough that they've felt like they could lean on me for that, I guess. Yeah. So it's been a rare thing, but it hasn't been like we've always talked about it afterwards. It hasn't just been like a ghost kind of thing,
okay.
Yeah. So it's been kind of like an in-between.
That'd be the really interesting thing if you pick someone up at a bar.
I'm not bored, by the way. I'm just had a big day.
And when you pick someone up at a bar or a nightclub and you're going home, and like obviously when you're pretty pissed and things happen, you fall asleep. I don't know how I would feel waking up during the night or in the next morning and be like, someone's not here. I mean, I would definitely like be somewhat comfortable. They've been in my own house at least. Like someone's not going to leave you if you're at their house.
I think I'm a pretty good realist. Like if I was in that situation, I'd be like, well, she was coming for a one-night stand. She probably wants to just go home, make breakfast, have a coffee, and not for me to not see her in the morning waking up with bed face. Like,
Yeah,
good on her. Like I wouldn't take it personally.
bad breath of the morning.
Bad
everybody
breath,
has
whatever.
this.
Girls have lots of insecurities waking
Yeah.
up next to my girlfriend of like a year would wake up every morning and be paranoid about her breath. And I'm like, babe, I don't give a fuck. Like,
The good mornings are when you're really passionate and into the sex the next morning,
and
and
it's
nobody gives a fuck about the bad breath. That's some of the good times. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
called beautiful. That's called true love.
Whose house is better to have a one night stand at, yours or theirs?
Ooh, good question. Mine.
I'm gonna.
Because I know my place is clean. I know my place is like it's a vibe. I've gone to some other places sometimes,
Yeah,
and it's fucking gross.
yeah.
Like smells of cat pee or whatever, and I'm like, and just what? This is catfishing once again. You think beautiful photos, like they just look like someone who's lovely and takes care of themselves. And you get to their room and there's like laundry that's sitting in a corner that's the height of my waist.
Ouch.
Or it's somebody that I know from like my normal walks of life in real estate or a property manager, anything that I can think of. And I've gotten to them
And it's gross.
and been like, you live like this.
You live like a guy. So you both said it's better to be at your house.
My home. Yeah.
And Benny said your house. I prefer to be somewhere where I can leave if I know that somewhere I want to get out of.
Yeah.
I think it's just easier for me to be able to just get up and just be like, I can leave this spot. And then as soon as like, if there's any, I'm not going to say guilt, but like if there's any reserved feelings, at least it's something that I feel like I can get out of. And then as soon as I leave that environment, like it's done. It's like that feeling washes over you. You're out of it and you're on your way. So it's quite interesting for you both to say that you'd rather do it in your own environment and have to get rid of somebody.
I've got a mate of mine that literally will finish having sex and then go, so what are you doing tomorrow? And like, that's his go-to subject to just get the conversation onto the next day. Like, let's go start thinking about the next day. You need to go home. You've got work tomorrow, and he'll start the subject. Oh, you got work tomorrow. Oh, you geez, you better get home. Like he'll dive straight into it.
That's Ripper.
Yeah.
That's Ripper. Oh, that's a manipulative move. Not exactly against. So do you feel safer and more relaxed in your own setting that that's when you can move somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather someone be in my home because I feel safer. But in the person pleaser is, I always want the other person to feel comfortable.
What's fair?
It's like
Do you feel that these conversations that obviously this is an all male environment, and I hate to just have all male environment speaking about this sort of subjects. Do you feel like these subjects, the conversation pieces that we're having now, do you think that they would be consistent with female and male? Like the same sort of things would be present? Or do you think it would be different from a male point of view?
like, give an example of what sort of things would be different.
What would they prefer?
I wonder.
Because
I'll give my opinion, and like if somebody gets upset, whatever, like they're not here. But I reckon, like, I think a woman would prefer a man to come into their environment.
Yeah.
Especially if they've got a house.
I would agree with that.
I think that, yeah.
That'd make them feel safer.
It's their environment. They've hopefully got a housemate or whatever.
That's a good point.
But I know of friends of mine who are girls who will message their friends and say, hey, I'm going to this guy's house, and this is their address.
Yeah.
If I don't message you in 1 hour, like, let me know.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's why
that's a really safe thing that females do to protect themselves and their friends at the moment, is that they all have each other on their Find My Friends, or you know where everybody is at any given stage, whether they like it or not. I think that's a really good thing that they have. I can't honestly say that I know any of my friends' locations at any point, and I probably wouldn't want to know some of my male friends' locations, especially if they're in the centre of Geelong on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. Like, completely up to you. But yeah, it's a male privilege, for sure, but I don't worry about the safety of my friends all that often. But what I really do appreciate is that females, especially this day and age, and it's probably come off the bat of a lot of bad things that have happened in our society, that females actually really care about the well-being of each other a lot more, or that feels like what it's come out anyway. That might not be the truth, but it feels like that.
I think we're also in the safest era where women can just say they're going for a one-night stand. Like, there's no having to hide it. Yeah. Like, girls will talk about it openly.
And I hope that's the way it is anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that. We're not experts.
I think it's fact. I'm in situations where I'm around my friends who are girls, and they're talking like blokes when it comes to their sex lives and their...
I would love to have a female opinion on something like this. Like, I hope that we can get a female on soon.
Yeah.
Benny.
That feels comfortable.
Yeah. That they can ask that they talk just as much shit as we do as males, but we're the grotesque ones. So
I feel like I'm softer than most girls that I know in terms of like the things that I say.
You reckon?
Yeah, I just don't like, I told you the story about Gima and I when we met in Bali. I think I told you about the first night she came to mine when I was staying there.
Yeah.
Like, I was the soft cock. She was the one that was like, let's fucking go. Like, she was the one that was ready to go. I was the soft cock that was quiet and a bit nervous.
Quite timid. That's because you were in a different country?
Oh, absolutely. And I wanted her to feel respected, and I didn't want her to feel like, I was trying to get her to come to my place to have a one-night stand because I really cared about her.
Mitch, fucking
thanks, G.
It has been unreal having you.
No worries.
Me and Benny have been that happy to have you.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure that we can get through absolutely anything that we wanted to speak about. We've got through the 2 stories from the 2 witnesses. And that's probably what I was most concerned about. But I can't appreciate your time enough. It's Friday night. We've been running for almost 2 hours. We've all got places to be. So I appreciate you so much. And I can't thank you enough.
No worries, mate. My pleasure.
We're going to fucking do this again.
Yeah, I was going to say, get me on again. Like,
we've had an absolute ball. When
get Rainbow Road going, and we'll...
Yes, yeah. I can publicly shame you in front of a live audience about how you're absolutely no good, but we won't be going down Rainbow Road. Thanks everybody for watching. If you are watching, if you're listening through Apple or Spotify, I appreciate your time, because we have gone down the absolute rabbit hole. Mitch, you've been an absolute gun. We love the stories that you're sending through. I can't even begin to tell you how much fun that we've had going through them. Please continue to send through your anonymous stories, because they're all going to get read out. We love talking about them. They're obviously engaging, and they are completely anonymous. And unless you're that one friend that sort of half involved me in a situation that, of course, I knew what it was going to be about. But we appreciate everything. And if you've gotten this far in the podcast, thanks for listening. We look forward to having you on the next one.
You can see how much fun you're having with this man. That's what cheers me at the most.
Thanks, guys.